jungle Nidalee once more. He gave up first blood to Kick-Ass last week against the claws of that Cougar. Off the table, Zed instantly follows, as you predicted, Deficio. Lissandra off the table. Quicker pick and ban phase from these teams. Annie removed as well. Rengar is still up. Shook has had some fantastic performances on that Rengar, as is the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, but remember the Rengar from Shook has been with Froggen on Lissandra, which is now banned away here, so we can see him fall back to the standard Shook junglers, the likes of a Jarvan, maybe a Lee Sin coming in, and Rek'Sai, of course, still being open in this pick and ban phase. Other than that, I mean, the Annie ban is a little bit funny because we know Nif loves to play Leona, which is actually a good pick into Annie, and yet they banned away here simply to get Kasing out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you bring up. Kasing's first game back on the stage in many months. Nah taken off the table from H2K, Castellan off the table from Elements. Rek'Sai is available, Jarvan is available, LeBlanc, Ahri, Graves. Number of these sort of high priority picks. If Wicked wants to run the Rumble, possibility is there. However, as Crepo alluded to, itemization, some thoughts that he's going to need to prioritize.
And Azir is once again actually left open. He's been one of the strongest picks whenever he could actually finally get picked up by teams, because he's been banned so many times, and yet in the last game we actually saw him fall all the way down to the last few picks for Giants on the blue side, and in this case it's not going to be Azir either for H2K.
So Ahri first pick from H2K. Ryu once again going for the assassin. Played it once before, this will be his second showing. It was a loss previously, and we heard Nick earlier in the day talking about Ahri on 5.2, which is the patch we're playing on. All of her mobility, all of the damage that she still has, still a terrifying threat.
Simply more about the consistent damage you can now put out in teamfights than the straight up burst through a charm which amplified the damage and a DFG to do the same and then just like burst down one target. More teamfight focused, honestly, from Ahri. And obviously her laning phase is a lot safer than before with this movement speed from your Orb of Deception when it's flying in the air. And honestly, again, you don't really tell too much, except you know Ahri is going mid lane. She's not a flex pick, and that's normally what we see from these first picks, is that people will always take flex picks first. But Ahri, clearly H2K, really putting a lot of focus here on that, and for Ryu.
And we need to see how they make that work for them. Elements hovered over a few champions for a while, ran the clock down in its entirety. Shook with some looks there towards Mart as we see Prolly chatting away. Rek'Sai was locked in for Shook. Nif is going to get the disengaged support Queen, Janna.
So this actually explains the Annie ban coming in from Elements, because they weren't planning on running Leona this time around, with Lissandra being banned away as well. So they have gone away from this very hard engage style we saw last week with Rengar, Lissandra and Leona together, and instead picked a Janna, a support a lot of the teams in Europe seems to forget about. She's still considered one of the best in every other region, but here in Europe we see so much hard engage coming in from every single support player, meaning it was left open. Nif picks it up, and again, the bans now make a lot more sense from Elements as well.
And H2K have locked in hard engaged champions into a Janna. Jarvan plus Sivir. All of this mobility and in-your-face speed and engage. I'm really interested to see how they decide to play around the Janna, because Elements have the opportunity to knock them back at the very least.
Right, but the thing we always have to remember with Jarvan is once he goes in with the Cataclysm, if he gets knocked back, it doesn't matter because the Janna is still stuck in there, or whoever is being locked in from Elements, meaning with this extra mobility from a Sivir, from an Ahri, you can get back into the fight. So that one disengage from the Janna shouldn't be enough with this much mobility on the side of H2K, but we're gonna have to see if Elements want to go for this maybe hyper carry style, because you have that early Janna, maybe a Pokemon coming in. Doesn't look like it though from the first few picks.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and H2K had some pretty questionable team fights last week during their games. Let's see if they've learned anything. Lucky number 7 as Reckless locks in his Graves. 6 games played, 4 wins, a 9 KDA. Reckless's champion pool consists of 1 Froggen playing the LeBlanc. Last time we've seen him playing that, he had the DFG, no luck this time around.
Yeah, and we've actually seen this matchup in the mid lane, Ahri against LeBlanc, quite a few times, and it often goes into favor of LeBlanc, simply because you have distortion, so you have the dash early on before Ahri hits level 6, and you can use that to dictate the pace of the lane, when to trade and when not to trade, and that's why Froggen is picking it in this game here. And also, obviously, your ability to pop a target when H2K is trying to just rush onto you with all this mobility, get the flank from a LeBlanc. Severe can die if you just dodge around that spell shield instantly.
So let's see how H2K round out their team composition. Elements have got the disengage and the pick potential from multiple champions. H2K locked in some front line and some more mobility and utility. H2K with really a very strong team fighting comp.
Yeah.
Not a lot of damage though, so pressure on both Hyanan and Ryu to get themselves in an advantageous position. Because if not, I feel this sort of double damage threat really may fall off in the late game. But I do like their 5v5 potential.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 5v5 is going to be very strong here. You have actually pretty good lanes all around as well. Maokai, one of the few tanks who can hold his own in a one-on-one, but Sivir into Graves is always a tough matchup because Graves can fully control the lane, but Sivir can always sit back and just try and farm and push out the wave as a kind of a defensive playstyle and just pick up farm and not allow Reckless really to take any good trades with him here from the side of H2K. So all around, a very standard comp to be honest, but a good comp with a lot of different tools to play, different ways of playing team fights, but this late game with the double damage threat, they might fall behind.
Well, Elements round out their team composition with a really summer split Wicked champion, Lulu, which he played a large amount of last year, only one game this year. More disengage tools, mobility, survivability, and some late game AP damage to back it up. Elements with a fairly non-traditional team comp that we're seeing in the 2015 season.
It's a bit of a strange comp coming in from Elements. Cause typically if you go like Janna Lulu, again, you want to have like a hyper carry for the late game, or when you want to have like a long-range siege, because you can then group up very early, take down these towers, and you can always disengage through Lulu and Janna if someone tries to engage on you from whatever side it is. And that's what you typically see paired with these two supports, we can call them, obviously for Lulu, top lane here for Wicked. But they're actually running with the Graves, which we often see fairly short range, very mid-game lane focused and mid-game focused. And the same can be said about a LeBlanc coming in more assassin style. So a bit of a mixed comp, honestly, from Elements. And I really want to see how they want to play these team fights. They have a lot of defensive tools to stay alive against this fairly tanky lineup from H2K. But then you're going to rely late game on Froggen and Reckless being able to take down targets. And against the Maokai Jarvan, again, that can be very tough.
Well, comfort picks could be the name of the day for Elements. You do see the team compositions there on your screen. You guys know the deal. Tweet us, #H2KWin, or #LWin to @LOL Esports, and let us know who you think is going to pick this one up. I think for Elements, going back to a style that will be comfortable, that has scaling options, you can see on screen H2K versus Elements, banners are lit up as we are onto the Rift for a fairly hefty delay there. Finally, we can see who's going to come out ahead. Elements 4-2, H2K 2-4. And it's H2K that are ones that need to find some sort of magic and maybe upset the apple cart.
Yeah, I really want to see Elements try and force standard lanes here. The Graves, Janna, one of the best dual lanes we have. And obviously the Lulu, while she won't be able to kill a Maokai, she can push him down and get a lot of damage on that tower throughout the laning phase. And that's also why we see Elements now. They do this very often, invade in at level 1, place a lot of deep wards down so they can actually try and spot what's going to happen here and get all the information you need.
Complete advantage to Elements, 15 gold. Game-changing to Nif. Well, let's see what they do with this vision, as you touched on. It's actually replied by Kasing. He's going to be playing Thresh this game. Also one of his most played champions from the summer split of last year. Kasing's always been a player that's played meta, real.
Yeah.
Never been
always been a very standard support. I mean, he came in, he replaced We Will Failer back in the summer split last year, and again, he had solid performance. We never really got to see too much from him. He didn't stand out as a special kind of support. Just good all-around, plays the meta picks as well.
One thing that we do have to highlight, while he was playing alongside Mr. Riles, we saw more from Mr. Riles than we have seen this year. You know, Mr. Riles plus Kasing delivered slightly higher performances than the Mr. Riles Nisbet lane that we're currently seeing in 2015. The reason I say that is we now need to see what the Kasing plus Hyanan brings to the table, because you're only one part of a bigger picture.
Yeah. And just to go back to the point we made when the game actually started here, how Elements, looking for these standard lanes, they can actually get them here. They placed all the D-wards around the blue buff. They placed the one between the two towers near the inhibitor in the top lane. They didn't spot anyone from H2K, so they were now expecting them to be on the bottom side, and that's why they swapped down Graves and Jenna here. Get your good standard lanes. Let's see if they can actually use it. Odo on there. I'm not sure if he actually did the wolf cam. I don't think he did. So he's just in the lane. Fairly standard. Gonna hit level 2 with Wicked up there.
Well, we'll see how that works out for him. Reckless and Nif, we touched on their sort of lane presence during the build-up and the setup for this matchup. They've got that, you know, sort of defensive support, but when you combo the knock-up and the slow, there can be a lot of damage that comes down. Kasing, oh, he gets the death sentence. Nif is in trouble. Ignite is out. He's forced to flash. That's first blood for Hyonin. Kasing shows up in his debut performance in 2015.
So because Elements was running around at level 1 here trying to scout out where the lanes were going, they didn't get to do Gromp at level 1, while Hyonin and Kasing did the Crooks, got the early level 2 as well as soon as they got into the lane, forcing Reckless and Nif to then back away from the waves and be in a very big disadvantage. And then one hook from Kasing, you get your first spot here. So simply because Elements were looking again to see where H2K was sending their dual lane, they couldn't do a camp at level 1, fell behind to it, and now gave up a first spot to Hyonin.
Well played by Hyonin and Kasing. Reckless and Nif living up to expectations, to be fair. But big wave in front of Reckless. It's not going to hurt him too much as far as experience and gold goes. We'll let him keep track of those numbers and see how Hyonin decides to spend his money. We did catch some glimpses of Wicked as well as Froggen, putting a lot of pain down onto the respective lane opponents. Froggen in particular with some cheeky distortion ethereal chains plays. And we catch our first glimpses of both the junglers. Fairly standard starts, both going for their farming items and just trying to get some power spikes before they look for opportunities to gank.
Yeah, and still, just a big mistake in that bottom lane. You should never be in range for that hook coming when they are level 2 to level 1. So Nif is not going to be happy about that one. Yet Reckless to get some farm on the turret, but again, he's been forced to go back now. Not having enough gold really to pick up anything other than just a Dorn's Blade and boots, meaning he's again even further behind compared to Hyonin, who's already gotten a pickaxe.
Well, let's see what Shook and Nif can do. Kasing is going to flay Shook backwards. Death Sentence goes way wide. Double knock up from El Nif, but not going to follow up with anything further. And we need to see how Hyonin can make use of this additional attack damage with that pickaxe and the ability to push the wave if he wants to. Right now, H2K getting control of the crab and the vision in the river.
Yeah, so what Reckless decided to do, if you wonder why he actually went back before he had enough gold for the pickaxe, was simply saying, I know you're going to return with a pickaxe, and if I just sit on one Dorn's Blade, I can't do anything to you. You can push the lane in. And because he's against a Sivir who can get so much damage on a turret and fast push waves, he said, I have to go back and just get something. That Dorn's Blade is going to give him a bit more power to try and hold back Hyonin, and that's why he felt forced to do it. Now he wants to farm up to let 1500 gold point, 1550, sorry, for that BF sword with his second Dorn's, knowing he's in a disadvantage, but it's better than nothing for him, and that's why he did it.
Yeah, and there is some wiggle room with that Janna Eye of the Storm, going to be buffing Graves' damage, so once they get close to level 6, assuming the spell shield is not a problem, can make something happen. Shook is going to see those footsteps. Remember, as soon as somebody moves, he's going to be able to sniff out his opponents. Lulix, of course, had no vision of Shook, so he had no idea to stand still. And it's a very, very powerful ability. Reckless gets played backwards. Kasing knocked up in the air. Death Sentence goes wide. Reckless takes a lot of damage. He's got no potions to speak of, nor does he have someone to heal.
Yeah, and top lane here, I quite like how the wave was being built up by Wicked, and then both junglers actually knew, okay, I can either go for gank or counter gank. Gank obviously from Lulix, knowing the wave was being pushed down, you have the Jarvan to set it up, and then Shook knowing he had to be there to counter gank, because Wicked had built up such a big wave. So both junglers here reading their minion waves pretty well, and therefore nothing really happened. Just counter each other out. And again, it's just about this bottom lane now, where the lead is in favor of Hyonin with 10 CS. He got a good back timing, he got the pickaxe. He's looking strong. Look at the damage as well on this tower. This is what you can do. If you get a lead on a Sivir, you just keep pushing in the waves again and again and again.
So, very well played by Hyonin and Kasing. It's way too early to say. However, you cannot deny that it was Kasing that set that first blood up and punished Nif's decision-making. So Hyanan and Kasing setting up H2K strong in the laning phase. Just under 1,000 gold in the lead. Some small CS advantages in that bottom and middle lane. However, Wicked doing a good job against Maokai, as you would somewhat expect from the fact that Lulu can bully a Maokai. But early dragon here for H2K, this should be uncontested.
Good timing again. You can see how Reckless was down to 50%. I believe Nif was actually out of mana. He started recalling, and then H2K knew, okay, we have all the pressure in the bottom lane, we have all the pressure in the mid lane. Notice how Froggen is pushed to his tower. He can't go anywhere. This is going to be a free dragon. You don't even have to invest into any wards, which is always the big deal. You have to decide, is it worth spending 300 golds on pink wards to get a dragon or not? In this case, they didn't have to use anything, just use the lane pressure to get it, and H2K playing it by the book here early on, using their advantages they do have.
A very smart play. Shook has earned himself a small CS advantage as well, using that mobility of Rek'Sai to give himself a small lead in the jungle. It hasn't equated to itemization just yet, despite having a few extra wards. Decent sapling from Odo Omne is going to keep him from being ganked. Elements not off to the strongest of starts. You know, you were talking about the laning power that Elements team composition actually had coming into the game from Picks and Bans. And unfortunately, they really haven't been given a chance to push it out. We see that Froggen has missed a wave in that middle lane. He's dropped 12, 13 CS behind. Obviously, Reckless is, you know, even, but there's a big wave pushing towards Hyanan, so he's going to pick up this small advantage. You know, this laning phase going in favor of H2K.
So again, simply because Elements were late to this bottom lane, didn't get to do a camp and then got surprised. I mean, not really surprised, just caught out of position and simply falling too far behind. Then due to that level 1 play and being late to the lane itself, and obviously in the mid lane, the new Ahri here, what you can do as well is you can actually build Abyssal Scepter as your first item. Very strong into double AP in this case, and simply become somewhat of a semi-tank at least, and be very hard to kill for the likes of a LeBlanc. No one-shot potential from Froggen, and therefore you can just keep pushing in the lane and rely on this sustained damage instead of the straight-up burst from an Ahri.
Yeah, I want to talk about the items that Hyanan's picked up. With this small lead that he's gathered, he's actually finished his Berserker's Greaves and picked up a longsword. So, not going towards an Eye Edge just yet, or the Shiv. So we need to see how Hyanan's build develops, and the farm alarm from Shook in the background.
I would expect him to go for Infintage now, or a Brutalizer, and then obviously Infintage after, and then complete a Ghostblade as his second item. Because he has his lead in the lane already, you want to really push it. Ghostblade is great if you want to try and snowball in this mid-game here, get that extra damage from the passive. Especially the armor penetration is so important on Sivir for her boomerang damage in early to mid-game, which is what he's aiming for, and that's why he's sitting on this long sword for him. And obviously, he's going to keep pushing in this wave. Reckless just has to pick up farm, and this tower is going to go down. I mean, in just a matter of a few minutes, H2K can make a small little move, take it for themselves, but for now I think they're happy just farming.
Yeah, but what do they do next? If H2K take the tower down, do Hyanan and Kasing just roam around? No boots in Kasing yet. Hyanan with those Greaves may be able to move lane to lane. Look at the damage that Ryu's put on this middle lane. So H2K may be able to accelerate their gold lead if they can string together a few towers.
It's a very easy rotation for H2K to take the bottom tower, push up one more wave with Lulix being there as backup, and then just go straight to the mid lane, take that tower as well. Dragon should spawn them fairly soon. You go back, you get your items and obviously a few wards, and then you make sure you take the second dragon as well, and suddenly you have 2 towers to 0. We see Lulix already now being here a bit of a... Honestly, he's just here for backup. He just want to take down this tower because it's so low. Jungler comes down, push it up one more wave, and then go straight to mid lane.
Well, Root
Unless
gets in
Ryu goes
play.
down.
The second chain does not. Ryu may be able to get a counter. 1 for 1. Ryu manages to get a reply on Froggen. Considering he was ganked and a little overextended, not the worst outcome.
No, 1 for 1, and now Hyanan straight into this mid lane here. Pick up some more farm for himself. It does again delay the push a little bit. For H2K, the Ryu went down. They would actually prefer him just sitting there and pushing in the waves, and then wait for them to come and take the turret. So delaying them a little bit. And a 1-for-1 trade, kill for both the mid laners.
Oh, Reckless may be in trouble. Kasing, can the wind-up connect? No, because he hasn't thrown it yet. And the dash from Reckless keeps him safe. Quick draws away. Kasing continues to help Hyanan farm away. 117 CS to 97. That's a 20 advantage. Hyunan's currently sitting on 1,700 gold, thanks to picking up a lot of farm and obviously that tower. You can see the gold differences even in the top lane. 400 in the favor of Shook. Ryu ahead in the middle lane, thanks to a small CS and the gold from the tower, of course. But it's really the bottom lane, 1,000 difference between Hyunan and Reckless.
Yeah, BF sword now picked up for him. He can go straight to mid lane, take down this turret, and then return to the bottom lane when Reckless had already pushed it out. But again, Elements, they're expecting it, so they keep ganking Ryu in here.
Oh, Ryu's in so much trouble. Knocked up, locked down. Death Sentence connects. Shook is the reply. Here comes Lulex. Cataclysm is available. He slam dunks down onto Froggen. Look for the right target. It's the one with the chain. Hyunan continues to auto attack. That's a double kill for Hyunan.
Wicked
The
just
brains of H2K managing to be in the right place at the right time. TP from Wicked's not going to be enough, and H2K set their sights.
Yana should go bot lane right now. They can take this turret without him, Kasing and Lulex together, and then a big wave is coming in from Reckless, so he can again take that farm, defend his own turret. H2K right now playing really well, taking every single advantage they can. So once again, Elements here, they want to keep trying to shut down Ryu. First of all, get Froggen going and try and stop this mid lane push. But because H2K are now moving there from the base, they can pick up the first one, take Froggen as well. Teleport actually coming in from Wicked, despite it being way too late. Odoamne cancel as well, so none of the top laners have teleport here. But then, because they get these 2 kills, H2K can just send the AD carry to the bottom lane. We see Yana there now, get the farm, get obviously the mid turret. So 2 towers now for H2K, really playing it well. And this all comes from the bottom lane being won by H2K. Dragons, turrets, everything.
Yeah, Hyunan and Kasing may not have been able to rotate to that middle lane if they were still dealing with Reckless and Myth.
They wouldn't have killed the turret.
So we do see Kasing 0-0-3 really setting up H2K here in their opening match of week 4. Second dragon secured to back up their 2 towers. Shook, that's the second blue buff in a row that is stolen, so not too bad.
And now with Dragon gone, you can send your AD carry to the top lane instead and push in that tower because there's no global objective he has to be on the bottom side for. Odoamne though, 1v4.
Oh, this is so much trouble. There's damage on Shook. Shook's tanking the tower. He manages to get away, should be able to heal up. What will they lose in reply? Elements get 1 kill, and it looks like somebody's recalling. We see Lulex and Ryu hammering away on this inner turret. Reckless is waiting on the sidelines. Froggen is still going to stick around up top. They've set their sights on Hyunan. Hyunan's got a triple kill, so or 3 kills. He's worth money. Froggen wants to blow him up. You do see the spell shield up. It gets popped. The chains do not connect. And Hyunan stays alive. So, tower still standing up top for H2K. I didn't see if it fell in the inner.
Mid turret went down.
And it did.
Yeah. Simply just pushing it in with Lulex, Ryu, and Kasing, and Ryu actually placed a ward on the side here, trying to zone away Reckless so he couldn't go in and ult the wave. The tower blew buff as well. Elements should be able to take this one for themselves, but it's only going to be 1 tower. And H2K really controlling the map. I like the way they're moving around Yana here, and I like the way they're reading Elements. Okay, you want to dive the top lane with 4 guys? Fine, we can just push in the middle lane already. We already had the wave under control. And again, making sure they stay ahead in gold.
Chains go wide once again from Froggen, but he manages to keep Odoamne away. Elements secure their first tower of the game. They've still got 3 kills under their belt, and they find themselves 1,500 gold down. It's not an insurmountable lead, that is for sure, but Elements need to be a little careful with the dragon count. H2K have had the timing and the control. They're just going to get more and more of those buffs. I think very smart play from H2K around the map. Off the gates well, but now is the difficult part. Now is keeping up their momentum with less towers and more informed decisions about where you push and where you pressure.
Yeah, and we only have 1 outer turret left. Yana was actually going there before and to try and push it, but then Odoamne ended up dying for it. Now they're on to Wicked.
So Wicked's forced to
away.
flash. He's moving. Ryu's going way deep. The charm connects. Orb of Deception's return does not. H2K do actually back Ryu up, so the numbers from Elements not going to be enough. You see Reckless and Froggen a little late to this party. Now Odoamne looking towards Nif. Boomerang Blade connects from Hyunan. Infinity Edge already completed. 163 CS. Hyunan in a great position to set up his team. And Elements get out clean. Odoamne just filling in the holes that Shook has dug across the map.
Yeah, and right now here, H2K won't really be able to do too much on the map because they have no deep wards placed in the jungle of Elements, so they can't really see where they're going. It's hard to create a pick if you don't have the vision for it. So they're actually just sitting back and waiting for Yanin to move. Now he's actually going to this top lane, as we mentioned beforehand. There's the last auto turret. He can push it in very, very fast. And Elements are going to try and respond by doing the exact same thing down the bottom lane. Sending down, so they want to trade turrets. Big wave already built up by Odoamne, and Yanin might actually be able to push it in further.
Well, let's see what they can do. Wicked sticking around. And you see Ryu may want to put some damage onto Shook. Shook has got some HP from that side stone, not a lot, but two members of Elements we see on the hunt coming out. Odoamne turns his attention to Wicked. We do see that vengeful Maelstrom. Here comes Lulix. Lulix is around. Odoamne's tanking the turret. Cataclysm's going to be able to kill the first champion in this fight, and now they turn their attention to Wicked. Wicked's going to be taken out next. A well-executed tower dive. H2K have got the coordination, the control, and they are arresting Elements on the map.
And honestly, again, H2K, they're just one step ahead of Elements in every single move they make. They build up a big wave on the top lane, send Yanin from mid lane up there to take the first tower, and they just kept pushing down, knowing, oh, again, Elements, if you want to come and dive our bottom lane, we can just go straight for you guys. Sivir ulti being popped, tanky Maokai already going in for the dive, kills turrets. H2K, honestly, are just one step ahead of Elements.
Very big improvement from last week's games. H2K seems somewhat lost, seems somewhat disconnected from one another, especially in their team fights, especially in, there was tower dives that went wrong and just how they were coordinating. We've not seen a 5v5, but H2K with their skirmishes and their movements, 2, 3, 4 man, are working out very, very well. Yanin gone for a Zeal and Pickaxe next, so maybe not even needing that Ghost Blade considering how well their laning phase has gone.
Just gonna save their longsword then for either the BT or the Last Whisper later on for himself. So actually deciding just to say standard item build for him. Better late game anyway. You would have to sell that Ghost Blade late game, so there's not as strong as a Static Shift or a Phantom Dancer in a long drawn out team fight. So for him, playing it a bit safer, and honestly, it's a good idea because you're gonna get to your 2-3 item spike very, very fast with all this global gold being picked up and the free farm he's been able to get. So you're actually gonna reach a late game point as an AD carry very early in the game. Something we can say for Reckless, who's still only sitting on Infinity Edge.
Yeah, very scary position to be in if you are on Element's side. They are, of course, they have put together this team comp that had the ability to do well in laning phase, but unfortunately have just been bullied away. So let's see how they dig deep, see how they play this mid-game phase. Last week they demonstrated some great team fights, but also not the greatest initiation on the side of Elements. They're really looking to just pick somebody off from that LeBlanc and Graves burst. They're not going to get the opportunities H2K on the inner bottom turrets.
Yeah, their comp is, we're going to Reckless to see what happens. Nothing really, but Elements comp rely on having map control. So you're the one dictating where to fight and have the enemy team forced to engage on you, where you can use your great disengage. That won't be possible as long as H2K are controlling the map here in terms of warding, in terms of all the towers they're taking down. Froggen again taking a lot of them. He keeps looking for these picks, but they're not there. I mean, it's very hard for him to do anything, and you see Elements try and do something at least to get back in this game, knowing that if they're behind, H2K can just take everything.
Rod of Ages plus Aegis of the Legion from Odoamne. Great itemization. Using that early gold advantage to give his team an aura. That's going to reduce both Wicked and Froggen's damage. You saw him defending that inner turret and buying all the time H2K needed to secure their third dragon. In the very last game we witnessed, Giants lost control of the dragon, and when eventually they decided to fight, Gambit were able to win, get that buff, and slowly close out the game. Elements find themselves in a similar position. They're behind on gold, they're behind on dragons, they're behind on towers. At some point, they have to fight H2K, and they don't have the power just yet.
No, and again, they don't have to engage to decide the fights at all. H2K can just disengage through a Sivir ulti if they feel like they're in a bad situation. They're the ones with the engage on their side. So again, it's not looking good for Elements. Trying to regain the map control. After they lost the map control to SK Gaming last week, that's when the game was basically over, because it was the same, it was a bad situation for them where they could never get a flank in. With their heavy engage comp they ran back then. Now it's a different situation, you just don't have to engage for yourself, but Shook is going in.
That was a flash into the knockup. Ryu gets caught again. Collateral damage thrown down from the backline. Odoamne's got 5 members hammering down on the giant tree. Where is Yanin? Death Sentence connects onto Wicked. Boomerang Blade comes out on the hunt being thrown up. Yanin's got one on the board as Shook is taken out. A flash away from Lulex is going to keep Reckless locked up. And Elements, despite initiating that fight, come out worse for wear. They've lost one.
Yeah, but a lot of flashes here being blown by everyone. We saw H2K disengage first and keep re-engaging and jumping in and out here, making sure Froggen couldn't lock down a target on LeBlanc here. And in the end gets 1 kill for it. Dragon was already gone, so there was no objective to fight over. None of the lanes really been pushed up either by H2K, which is going to be the next step here. If they want to continue pushing further into the territory of Elements, then you got to get these side lanes rolling. For now, the top lane is pushing, so you can go bottom lane here, force Elements to stay and defend, and wait for this wave top to get some damage on the turret, or at least hope that Elements can lose a lot of farm from it.
Well, Shook has not had an aggressive Rek'Sai ultimate yet, has been using it just for that mobility and to get back into the jungle. He's built himself up a 30 CS lead, so it's at least giving him some gold. Randuin's Omen and that Ninja Tabai already completed, reducing the damage of 1, and that's Wicked dead on the background. I didn't even see how the damage got to him.
I think a Boomerang and Orb of Deception.
I mean, Wild Growth was available. I have absolutely no idea how he was taken down. Hopefully we get a replay of that one. H2K waiting for this next minion wave. And they're just going to keep the pressure on Elements, keep Elements on the defensive.
Yeah, again, look at the top wave pushing in. Just force Elements to stay in this bottom wave. Get a tower, all the outer turrets are now gone. It's really, really looking good for H2K. Notice again how they're pinging on the wave, so they realize, okay, stay here, force Elements to defend, make them lose all this farm.
What I'm more impressed by from H2K is it's 23 minutes in the game, and they have systematically destroyed Elements turrets. Every single time there is an opportunity, as a team, every single member of H2K has been where they need to be. They've got the 3 dragons, they've pushed the inner turrets. They're moving around effectively, and this is now the hardest nut to crack. Inhibitor turrets, they've got some vision down in Elements jungle, and they now need to figure out how they uproot Elements in their own base.
Wicked. Managed to actually get up there. H2K didn't feel like they had to stay with all the gold they had picked up from beforehand, so decided to give the farm to Elements, but still got the last outer turret gone. Because you have 3 dragons to 0, I mean, it's not like H2K again has to make a big play. You can wait for that 5th dragon, you can start setting up the Baron. We see Oracle being picked up for Kissing. I like that. Again, you have pink wards for Lulex, greater stealth totem for Odoamne as well. So a lot of wards possible. Sidestone coming actually very late from Lulex. He didn't build it early on. He was waiting now for this team fights to start happening and knowing, okay, now we really got to play the map. We are in the lead, so as long as we ward up the entire jungle of Elements, they will never be able to run in and face check us. We were just going to take that fight and just kill them. So that's why he's picking up a fairly late Sidestone.
Thank you for voting on Twitter, everyone. H2K, 75% of the vote. Well, let's be fair, we are 25 minutes into the game, so anybody who watched the first 5 or 10 would be well within their rights to vote that way. H2K with a 5k gold lead, a minute to Dragon, and complete vision control of the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and I still want to see how Elements wants to play with their comp, because it is strange to see like Lulu Janna and then not running again the hyper carry or like a poke comp or siege comp. Instead a very bruiser focused AD carry in Graves and obviously LeBlanc as well for the pick potential. But you don't really synergize too well at all here, where H2K on the other hand, because you have that front line on the Maokai and the Jarvan combined with his Sivir to start these fights, you have so much all-in potential. So I really want to see what Elements wants to do in these late game fights with their comp. If it's just going to be all about staying alive through the engage and then hoping for Froggen to find that one pick or Reckless being able to clean up a fight. But then again, why not just pick something that can melt the tank?
0-0-0 on Reckless after his support gave up first blood early on. He's not had the ability to shine. What does he have that traditional front line that may give him the time to shine in these team fights? Jarvan, Maokai, Ahri, Sivir, all with tools to run him down. But H2K need to find him in a position where they can. Still pushing the wave, doing a decent job at the side lane control for H2K.
I must admit, I'm a little bit surprised Locket is actually on Odoamne. Because you've gotten all this global gold, that's where normally your support can get a fairly early Locket for himself. Instead, Kasing decided to get the Ruby Sidestone, so he wants that one extra ward because he knows, again, there's going to be a game of vision and a game of H2K forcing objectives now. But he could have gone like full tank Maokai here, and then late game a Graves is not going to kill him, a Lulu is not going to kill him, and LeBlanc doesn't want to use all her burst on him either. So had he just gone full tank, I think that would have been better for H2K and use all the global gold to get the locket on Kasing instead.
Lions managed to recall from the top lane, but they're going to be late to this turret. H2K have found a window of opportunity. They have punished Elements. They've got the turret, and they're going on the inhibitor. Inhibitor's down to a third. On the hunt, thrown out from Hyanan. He's looking for targets. Charm doesn't connect. H2K get the objectives and get the hell out of Dodge. Inhibitor down. Elements, they're left floundering.
Yeah. All game long. Starting in the laning phase, H2K has just been, honestly, the better team in this game here. Every single move they've made on the map resulted in them getting a tower or dragon. 4 towers to 0. The shot calling looks great for H2K suddenly. And I'm actually really looking forward to see if they can finish the game now. You have Inhibitor gone in the bottom lane, which means you can bait out this Baron here, have the super minions push in the bottom side, force Wicked to stay back and defend. Get full control around this Baron and bait Elements into a bad fight, or take it for yourself, wait for 5th dragon, go finish the game.
H2K are demonstrating how to take advantage of a lead. From getting first blood on their AD carry, they were able to push each and every lane respectively over the course of the next 15 minutes. That has allowed them to escalate this lead, and with super minions in the bottom lane and Reckless dealing with them, H2K are so confident they're starting Baron.
Wait, you have teleport in your top lane and you send your AD carry to deal with the bottom lane? Clearly Elements are just going to give up this Baron here or hope for Shook if he can like steal it, but no, it's not even nearby. So Elements actually deciding to say we can't fight for Baron no matter what. So we just give Reckless the farm in the bottom lane. He needs that last whisper anyway, because these two tanks are gonna start building armor soon. For now, they're just sitting on some magic resist against the double AP of Elements, but we know they're gonna start putting in these random entombments.
Deficio, Elements gave up the inhibitor from poor positioning. They gave up Baron from being splits up. Honestly, it looks like they've given up this game because there's no plays. Yes, they were behind, but they've not had the defensive wards they need to. Now we do see H2K with Baron buff pushing down this middle lane. Hyanan takes a lot of damage from Reckless. This may put a big halt on the siege. Let's see if he can regen with that Blade of the Ruined King. And how much deep vision H2K set up on the back line.
Shook is looking to fight here.
Well, let's see what they can do. Kasing gets slowed. Auto 1 there's gone in. Ryu's going to flank from the
that
side.
didn't work.
The first victim is Nif. Cataclysm goes out. We see the flash forward. Charm doesn't connect. Wicked splitting to the left. Reckless splitting to the right. Wild Growth is up this time round. Orbit Deception's not going to be enough. Froggen re-engages as he gets caught up in the end. The collateral damage plus Froggen. They get 1, lose 2, and an inhibitor. Baron buff on those minions. H2K, they're on the Nexus turrets. They're going for a 30-minute victory. H2K are there. Hyanan's got the damage to finish this one off. Elements are not going to be able to defend. And H2K with a stunning victory over Elements. Rise above, show that their substitution pays off. And they've got the win.
And honestly, that was a stomp by H2K. Hyanan on this Sivir here did such a good job of getting that early lead and just pushing down every single tower for himself.
Look at that, all hugs around. Kasing Kaching. If you are an H2K fan. 3-4 now. H2K may have the makings of the Alliance curse from Summer Split. Remember Alliance won every game, then lost every game, then won every game, then lost every game. From week to week, H2K went 2-0, 0-2, other way around. 0-2, 2-0, 0-2, and they've got a win now.
Got a win now,
but
for
what
sure.
A convincing win.
Again, fantastic game by H2K. I don't even think they made any major mistakes at all, and that's not something we see very often. Even in professional games, there's always something you could have done better, but in this game, the way, again, they play around the lead to get in the bottom lane, Lulik's coming down, take the first tower, you go straight to mid lane, take the next tower, send Hyanan top lane, take another one, and again, Elements with their comp, once you fell behind, you suddenly couldn't start anything because you have no hard engage, and you are relying on them engaging on you and you disengaging, but this wasn't through team fights that H2K won, that was just map pressure, taking down outer turrets with your AD carry, and no, like, it's not even like, so the wave clear on Elements would have been mainly from, again, Reckless and Wicked when it comes to if you're sieging on a turret, because, again, LeBlanc can't really jump in and clear the wave if you're standing right in front of her. But you never got to that point either, because Elements were just spread out on the map. And Sivir just pushed every single lane for herself. Got all the turrets.
Yeah, very stern looks there on Froggen's face as